Hey everybody, it's me, Brent Lee, and in this video we're going to talk about the new Google Stadia. Do a quick unboxing, a setup tutorial, and then an in-depth review to find out, is it really worth all of your hard-earned money? Alright, so we've got the Stadia box here. Let's open it up, let's see what it looks like. Now this is the Founders Edition, and I went with the Midnight Blue controller. So here's the Stadia Founders Edition Midnight Blue. It's not bad, it's very lightweight, very simple pad. Feels really plasticky. Buttons feel okay. Very reminiscent of the old Xbox controllers. Kind of a matte finish on this side. Some texture on the back. You got a headphone jack, charging port, and you can also plug into USB. But okay, let's put that to the side. What's underneath here? What do we have? Oh look, looks like Apple packaging here. So we've got our plugs, USB-C, and this is probably instructions, welcoming letter, blah blah blah, stickers. Hey, I like stickers. Stadia controller getting started. Yep, your typical paperwork there. Inside is the Chromecast. Nice little protective cover over it, shiny black. HDMI. Drop that back in. And then we've got our plug to power it up. Pretty simple. Nothing fantastic here. So Google Chromecast, controller, plug for the controller connection. So that's the unboxing. Pretty simple. So how does Google Stadia actually work? Well, Google has its own servers. This is a cloud-based streaming service so you can play games that you pay a monthly fee for, and you also have to pay for the games. So there's that. Now if you're going to play on Google Stadia, you only need a couple things. Google Chromecast, which comes with it, and the controller, or another controller of your choice that you can hook up via USB or through Bluetooth. But for now we're going to do the Google Chromecast and Stadia. You just plug it into a TV. But there is another option. You can actually go to the Stadia website and play through the browser. And I'd like to show you that first to see what kind of quality you're going to get depending on your connection. It's not much. Alright, so we tested Google Stadia through the web browser, and we saw that it performed fairly well in 1080p, which we couldn't play in 4K. Unfortunately, they say it's coming later next year, but in 1080p it wasn't bad. I had pretty much zero latency between the actions of pushing the controller and what happened on screen. I didn't have any stuttering or anything like that, but then again, I'm running really good internet here at the house. So now comes the real test. Hooking up the Chromecast to my TV, getting everything set up. Now, Google recommends that you run a Ethernet cable directly into the unit, and that you're on the best Wi-Fi that you can get if you're not able to get a landline in. So I have both 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi in the house. So first we're going to run 5 gigahertz. We'll do a 2.4 gigahertz test of 5 gigahertz, and then we'll plug in the landline and see what the difference is. I am expecting to be some latency here between playing it on the TV and playing it on landline through my PC, but most people with Google Stadia are not going to be playing it on a gaming rig like what I have. Most people are going to be playing it on a laptop, a TV, maybe their phone. If you have a Google Pixel phone, you can play it through that right now. But let's go get everything hooked up and run some more tests. Now, in order to get your Google Stadia Chromecast set up and your controller set up, you've got to download the Stadia app first onto your phone, whether you're running an iPhone or an Android. This is the only way that you can make any changes to settings, purchase games, look at your library. Everything is done through the Stadia app on your phone. So if you don't have a phone, you're not going to be playing Google Stadia. But you can go in, you can change your HDR settings depending on if your TV or monitor has that available, and you can also change your quality from the best, balanced, and limited depending on your connectivity and how much data usage you're actually allowed through your cellular company. Now, if you're running Wi-Fi at home, that's a different story. You don't have to worry about that. Now, to set up the controller, once again, like I said, it has to be done through the app, and you have to make sure that the controller is on the same Wi-Fi that your Chromecast is going to be on. So if you have multiple Wi-Fi channels in your house, so you have a couple of 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz, you have to make sure that the controller and your Chromecast, everything is on the same Wi-Fi, otherwise it will not work. Now, if you're just playing through the browser, that's fine. You can just plug your controller in via USB port on the laptop or your PC. But if you want to play wirelessly, it has to be on the same Wi-Fi as the Chromecast. And so getting the controller set up took a little bit of time, especially since I was trying out different Wi-Fi channels through the house, just trying to determine, what's the difference between a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz. So each time I change, I had to wipe the controller and then reset it up all over again, which was kind of a pain in the ass, just to be honest. Okay, so now we have to download the Google Home app to complete the setup. It's currently connecting. It's now connected. We are connecting. And of course we have an update. On. So we're going to go to Stadia. There's your home. That's your room. Click that device. Volume is 100%. We're going to open Stadia. Use the Stadia app. So let me go grab the controller. Okay. Ready to link. Here we go. Connect your Chromecast to the same Wi-Fi network as your Stadia controller. Make sure it's not currently in use with any other devices, casting services, or link music or videos. Alright. After setting Chromecast, look linked in. We're going to put the phone down now that the app is up. And it says I'm going to click busy so I don't get bothered. Go back. Can we connection? Connection is excellent. Data usage best, visual quality pro, 4K. Okay. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on HDR. So again, I'm back in the app. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to to display. I'm going to turn HDR on. There we go. Everything is set. Now, per second as we're playing, HDR definitely engaged. It looks good, but my PS4 Pro looks crisper than this at 4K 30 frames per second. And compare this to a PC, there is no comparison. Now this first test, we did this on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi in the house, and testing out the latency between pushing a button on the controller and the action that happened on screen. There was definitely some latency there, some lag there. Now you got to keep in mind that your controller is connected via Wi-Fi, so the signal has to go through the Wi-Fi, through the cloud to the server, and an action will happen on screen. So I was seeing about a half second to almost a second of latency there between what the action I was trying to do on the controller and then what was happening on screen. It was definitely apparent. It wasn't too bad, but you could definitely tell some latency from like I said, an action happening on the controller by pushing the button, and then what happened on screen. The only settings you had inside the game itself where you could change the controls. If you're running keyboard and mouse or controller, you can change some of the settings here as far as look sensitivity, button layouts, and stuff like that. Just very simple and minimal changes that can be made here. Now, as far as video quality, none of that can be changed. All that has to be done through the app. And you do have all your key mapping abilities for everything for if you're running keyboard and mouse and you're doing this on PC or laptop. But as far as video quality settings, you can't do it here, only in the app. Now switching over to a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi in the house, the latency wasn't as bad as it was on the 2.4 gigahertz. We did see some latency, a little bit of input lag. It wasn't bad. I didn't have any stuttering or skipping during gameplay, but the latency, the input lag was definitely apparent, but it wasn't as bad. It wasn't instantaneous like we get from playing on console or especially on the PC. But I could tell there was just a slight little bit there, but it doesn't mean it wasn't unplayable. Visually though, I just don't think we were getting 4K 60 frames per second, even though it was saying we were, and the HDR was engaged. HDR looked really good. but this was not 4K 60 frames per second by any means, even on 5 gigahertz. Okay, so my final thought is, does Google Stadia work? Yes, it does. Does it have issues? Of course, we're dealing with Wi-Fi here, we're dealing with latency, we're dealing with input lag. My biggest complaint though is I did not visually think that we were getting 4K 60 frames per second even out of a 5 gigahertz or even an Ethernet cable plugged in. This to me appeared to be 1080p upscaling, and it was not 4K 60 frames per second. I hope I'm wrong, but visually that's not what we were getting. I do believe this is upscaling. While I enjoyed the fact that Google Stadia actually works, I wish the quality was a little bit better. I think down the line Google will get this worked out, but right now it's just not there. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, post something down in the comments. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. And as always, I'll see you next time.